Hello? I thought so. I thought where it is. Yeah, y'all bitches is nothing but groupies. I don't know. Oh, I'm checking these motherfuckers. Ooh. These little babies. Y'all kids is done, shorty. Some of these people are grown women. Y'all done. And I'm just laughing for real on the inside saying, bitch, you talking shit now. You don't have salvation, bitch. Die today. Your ass is done. Your fucking mother can't save you because that bitch don't know either. The motherfucking mothers was on drugs, crack, and dick. Bitch, please. China very lucky. She very lucky that she got a mom that looks damn near her motherfucking age. No alcohol, no drugs, no weird shit. Still got it going on. Beautiful as a motherfucker. Leader. Always been. Businesses never needed a motherfucker. Will kill your motherfucking asses and drop them down and get a motherfucker to do it. Like, what the fuck? Y'all bitches, I feel sorry for you. And I'm glad that y'all gonna come out with her little story on my show. Like, yeah, you can't do that. You can't lie on your mother. I can't wait. Because y'all bitches can't compare to my daughter. None of you bitches. You didn't have what she had. Y'all with y'all motherfucking money issues and shit, bitch. She don't even have that shit. She didn't have none of that shit. That bitch had it going on. And I can't wait for that part to come out. Even though people know from common sense. You can look at a bitch and see that. Look at a bitch one day and know what time it is. These bitches, wow. Yeah, I'm gonna make this shit into a show. I'm gonna show the sickness of shit. Yeah. Oh, you motherfucker, I'm gonna go out today and do what I gotta do. And then, what's the name? Hold on. Sick. These people want to be seen so bad. And it comes from, and it's just like my psychology of it, because this is why I really like social media, why I even went the fuck away from the beginning, the psychology of the sickness of people. It's really some unloved motherfuckers out here. It's unbelievable. How do you have a child and don't love it or take care of it or make sure it's all right? If you don't do that, something's wrong. This phone is my social media phone. I can cut it off anytime. Just hit the don't, the do not disturb and let it sit for a while. It'll eventually, dissipate. Because I don't change nothing I'm doing. Bitches gonna run before I do. Bitches can't, these bitches is mentally ill. This is a mentally ill bitch. These are mentally ill bitches. We're going on 60 hours. 60. If that's not beyond another type of fame, I don't know what it is. If I'm nobody, why are they bringing my phone? I'm letting it go. I can stop it. Let's get entertained.
Pockets is empty. We just surviving off the scrapes of our teeth in our brains here, okay? While they get it all. How do these bloggers know all these people business? How do you get this information? That if they put it on their page, everybody already knows. How do you get this?
Because they call them and give it to them. You're looking at the same shit.
It's like it's small time. I give $1,000. I'm getting $1,000 talk about it. Because if the blogs don't talk about these shit and these weirdos and these 10,000, they go away. They literally disappear. If you don't talk about one of these celebrities for 2 months, they slowly.
You don't have to think about
As
them.
big as they are, whatever. People might ask them,
They keep me up though. It's for a reason. They don't even know why they keep talking about me. They're finding every reason in the world to say whatever and still came back now.
Look, I wouldn't be calling them that anymore.
I run in a hole in the wall if I get caught with these bum bitches. Any of them.
You're the stick. I mean, you're the stick. Wow. No, seriously. Damn, look at Gucci Mane. Okay. Oh yeah, what you say, Ray?
Bitches FaceTime and everything.
Let me dig it up.
Let's look at the realness.
They all did this. Nuclear reactors.
All that. Weird
You
shit.
can turn the sun on.
I'm gonna answer. Let's make
Oh,
this
let's
shit
just
into
turn the sun
something.
down.
Let me turn this. Yeah, I'm gonna answer. They ring the social media phone. Yeah. A phone number that's been online now for 3 motherfucking years because I give advice. I help people do things. Help people get pay stubs. And people I've been fucking with for a while. They might need some things. Weird bitches all day. I don't know what
After
bitches.
creating
Bitches bums and need to feel that they talk to a celebrity. Me, in particular. They're not going to do the same thing they do with celebrities, other celebrities that they would do with me. No. They're not going to say, can I get a hug? They're going to say, oh, I like your outfit. That's what they're going to say. Oh, I like your outfit. Because that's going to be the end of it. Period.
After creating artificial sun hotter than the sun, China's making an artificial moon. So all you have to do is
Say shit. It's crazy. I'm over here chilling, doing my thing, sitting on my ass, running my businesses, giving back to the community. Today's another day. 3 times a week, baby. Yes. For 13 years. It's a habit.
No, I'm about to tell you what I think. First of all, we gotta go back to talking about some glacier spending.
These real people, this is just a piece of my podcast. Y'all don't know about it because I haven't told the public on social media. Or what? You not with me, I don't want you around. Yeah, just listen to something.
If you put that sun up 5 times hotter, it will automatically melt shit down to a bare, everything be flooded.
This person's face.
Keep in mind.
Also, they're trying to get out.
You called Tokyo Tony. Okay, how can I help you, dear? Let me talk to you, sweetheart. What's your problem? What's your issue? You got a lot of issues. I can definitely hear that you're gay. That's probably half of it. What is the problem? The molestation? No, bitch, listen, you called my shit. You overtalk me again, I'll block you, bitch, and that'll be the end of it. Because you called for desperation, bitch. What else? Don't fuck with me. Again, loser. I'm gonna give them what they want. They're gonna hear what I gotta say. You on my phone. It's a social media phone. This person calling from no ID. I don't know you. How can I help you? I'm not your boo. And then you call my phone from a blocked number. You fucking weird. You a weird bitch. Get out of here. No one call them back. They want some attention. Perfect day. Perfect day. Oh, no, you don't want answer. No, let's get it. You run the fuck out my shit. This person said you're a pussy bitch. Okay. You call my phone. I'm returning your calls. These people need some fucking excitement in their life. They feel that they talk to somebody who did something. Oh, yeah, I need to know what it is. Maybe they get their recordings together because I'm damn sure gonna make them advertise for me.
I remember when I lost my mind. Yeah. I remember when I lost my mind. Yeah. I remember when I lost my mind. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I can tell these bitches. Next bitch call. It's easy as block. No, you're not gonna do that. You're not gonna call me. I don't know you. Bitch, what you think? You fucking faggot is what I said. You're a faggot, boy. How much dick have you, how many times have you been molested? Let's get over it. Let's get over it. Let's keep it real. Come here, fag. Let's talk, bitch. You don't know a motherfucking thing about me. You don't know, boy, you're a whole faggot. You're a fucking nigga that's taking dick in your ass. And you wonder why you're calling me. So now you can talk, bitch. What was that? I'm letting you talk. I'm letting you talk, Gump. Stop watching me, bitch, if it's bothering you. Don't you think that's a little mental? Don't you think that's a little fucking mental, dumbass? You don't think it's a little mental? You're a little, or nothing, you're mental. It is. To watch someone, listen, bitch, to watch someone that you don't like, to be able to pinpoint every fucking detail, that's an obsession. First of all, Gump, you're mad because somebody done fucked you up your ass probably at 3 years old, that you still covering for this motherfucker. Be a real advocate for niggas that's getting fucked up their ass that didn't want it. But now, well, we're gonna get two then.
It's a double base.
I don't give a fuck what it is. We're getting 2 rooms. Let me send you the money. We go pop. The fuck wrong with you? Bitch, you a grown ass woman.
I know, but what?
Bitch, it's $45.
I know.
That's why. Don't get fucking weird.
I'm not. I'm just asking a question.
Don't get weird.
I'm not, Tokyo. I'm not. I was just asking.
Move, bitch. Fuck wrong with you? Till I bring a bitch with me, they get weird. Now, for $45, you want to be in the same room with me? Bitch, I'm paying for your room. You know, weird ass bitch. We grown ass women. Not sharing no room with no grown ass bitch. When I catch you, and I will, in Tokyo, I'm going to drag you, bitch. Get worried. Call the police now. Yeah, call them now. Put a pre on me, because I'm coming. That's a threat on your life, because I'm going to beat your fuck out of you, bitch. Hopefully you'll die from it. Hopefully it'll kill you, bitch. I get a murder charge, okay. Megan got a little bit of everybody. Beyonce got Jay-Z and everybody he fucking. Nicki got her husband. Oh God, well, we don't want him fucking nothing. Okay, and Cardi, Mr. Cardi B, poor thing. I don't know what to say about that man. When I seen him with the annihilated green pants on, twirling in the circle, I was over it. Okay, move on. Kim is the biggest motherfucking nothing ass bitch of them all. Megan got a little.
Oh, are you looking for me, officer? Did they send you out here for me? I'm in the middle of a live broadcast. My name is Jacqueline Suzette Johnson.
Okay, yeah, you're who we're looking for.
And why are you looking for me, officer?
There's a warrant for you out of Mesquite, Texas.
There's a warrant out of Mesquite, Texas?
Yes.
I never lived in Mesquite, Texas.
I don't know if you live there or not. That's what your date of birth, man.
My date of birth is 5/17/1977. I've been being stalked online all day.
Okay, well, right now, you have the right to remain silent. Can you say can?
Oh, by the way, hold on. They're reading me my rights.
right, you're trying to get a court attorney for the ticket, right? That's not basic question. Anytime you're in the process, you know, something yourself and have an attorney first. You take your rights.
Put a 1 in the chat if you guys understand my rights. Well, at least you guys read rights. They don't do it in DeSoto.
Do you understand your rights, ma'am? Is that real?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Do you have your ID on you?
No. My wallet is in my hotel room with my son and my mother who have been being harassed online all day.
Okay.
By the way, King World 2020 has been harassing us all day long, hunting us for the past 2 weeks. I've been being followed. I no longer live in Texas. I live here.
Okay.
I just got off the phone with DeSoto police, and they said they don't have no warrant out for my arrest.
You're an NCIC, okay?
What does that mean? What is NCIC?
National Criminal Information System.
Okay, and what does that mean?
It means that you're wanting full extradition anywhere in the States.
For a Class C misdemeanor? That's what I was charged with. Okay, guys, I think I have to go because I think they're going to arrest me now. So, mods, you know what to do. Kimmy, I'm turning everything over to you. Please make sure my mother and my son know that I'm being arrested again for doing absolutely nothing wrong. Bye.
We're not perfect.
You're an adult, correct? Juvenile and juvenile, correct? Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
You two are under 18 and you're 18. You're all going to be booked with first-degree premeditated murder. You two will go to the juvenile assessment center. You will go to the Marion County Jail. Okay? Take a deep breath. You'll have no bond. You won't be getting out.
How many years?
Oh, honey, this is not. Listen to me. Everybody, just take a deep breath.
Like, well, since we really didn't do anything.
No. See, but you did. First of all, let's get over that hump right now, okay? That we really didn't do anything because everybody's complicit here. A person died. A person was murdered, okay? We all knew about it. We all planned it. We were all involved in getting it done. So let's hop that hurdle first, okay? Let's man up to the fact that, damn it, this was a pretty heinous crime and we all had something to do with it. Now we got to deal with what will happen to us from that, okay?
Yeah, well, it was like the fact, like, I know I was scared because Mike had a gun and
you know what? Stop it. Do you think we haven't been listening to everything you guys have been saying in here? Are you that stupid, really?
I know.
And just stop. Because I don't even, lying to me just makes me just, I hate it.
I wouldn't lie.
Oh, yeah, you would. You lied about a few things.
my god, I'm sorry. I found
Tim.
Hello?
Hello? Is it you?
Hey, you ever got something to eat?
Yeah, go ahead. You done with anything when you done it?
Sure.
You gonna make out? No, you're still there. Come on, you're not scaring me.
Hey, what kind of ice cream did you want?
Whatever. Chocolate?
Done.
Interview that shocked the world.
In our neighborhood, down our main street.
Is she good?
No, she's dead. That's why this is very important. It's all on you right now.
What is my problem?
You were
You
the
were
last
the
one
last
with
one
her.
seen with her. So right now, it's facing you right now, son.
This is Aiden Fucci, a 14-year-old boy from Florida, being questioned by his parents at a police station in 2021. Aiden is being held and questioned under suspicion of murdering his 13-year-old classmate, Tristan Bailey, something he insists he had no part in. But to understand how police came to suspect Aiden was capable of murder, we must go back to the beginning. In the quiet town of St. John's, Florida, Tristan Bailey was just a 13-year-old girl attending Patriot Oaks Academy, dealing with all the usual challenges high school brings. She was a dedicated and talented cheerleader, full of enthusiasm, ambition, and determination rarely seen among other kids her age. Her classmate Aiden, however, was a different story. According to those who knew him, Aiden Fucci was an oddball. While his teachers noted that Aiden showed them respect and never outwardly caused trouble, his hatred of authority, arrogance, and know-it-all approach to life was off-putting for his teachers and classmates. Throughout his school life, Aiden would land himself regular suspensions, usually after getting into fights with his classmates.
Well, at first, I didn't know if it was him or his friend that was in ISS, and that's why they were in ISS, because one was saying the other one said it.
But the allegation was that Aiden threatened to throw another student out a window.
That's correct.
A female student.
That's correct.
Okay.
But outside of school, Aiden was displaying far more red flags. Aiden had an unnatural obsession with murder, frequently discussing the topic with his friends. According to those who knew him, Aiden often talked about his deep desire to feel what it would be like to kill another human being.
He has said he said his knife, he wanted to slit somebody's throat, and he said it'd be satisfying. He's talked about killing people. He's talked about fighting people. I've seen him practice stabbing motions with his knife.
Aiden would often talk about how he would murder his hypothetical victims. He suggested that he would take them into a wooded area at night, stab them, leave, and later claim he had nothing to do with the murders.
When he talked about killing somebody, he even told Zoffie Bowman how he would do it. And what he told her was, I would walk around at night and I would find somebody else walking at night. I would drag them in the woods and I would stab them. And then I would pretend like I didn't do it. so that I could keep killing people.
In her sworn testimony, Aidan's girlfriend confirmed that he had an unnatural obsession with the idea of killing, and often claimed to hear voices in his head encouraging him to murder someone. When he wasn't at school, Aidan would always carry a knife, one of two named Picker and Poker. On several occasions, she said Aidan would pretend to stab her or sneak up behind her and hold one of these knives to her throat. Despite the blatant red flags on display, his girlfriend believed it was nothing more than teenage morbid curiosity. She never thought he would go through with it.
That's going to be Sophie coming on the skateboard towards the house.
On May 8th, 2021, the day before Mother's Day,
interview that shocked the world.
When the jurors were shown the crime scene photos, they passed out. Fair warning, the following story contains graphic details, so please be advised. On January 7, 2007, 21-year-old Shannon Christian was waiting outside of her friend's apartment complex. She was meeting up with her boyfriend, 23-year-old Christopher Newsom. The plan was to meet up at her friend's apartment complex so that they could both arrive at a party together. When Chris arrived, the couple were ecstatic to see each other. They couldn't even wait to get in the car. They had to hold each other and kiss. But unbeknownst to the couple, there was a car filled with men watching them. And in a blink of an eye, their lives would crumble. Later on that evening, friends of the couple were getting pretty worried about them. They weren't there. They were calling them. Nobody was answering. People thought it was really strange because they were talking about the party the whole day. They were excited to go and see everyone there. Around that same time, Shannon's parents were also worried about the couple. Shannon hadn't contacted her mother since leaving the apartment complex. So Shannon's mom phoned a couple of her friends at the party. They mentioned to Shannon's mother that neither her nor Chris arrived at the party. Shannon's mother phoned the authorities, but they told her that they couldn't do anything about it because the couple had only been missing for a couple of hours. Shannon's mother, along with Christopher's friends, conducted their own search. At around 11 p.m., friends of the couple went to the apartment where the couple had met up. There, they saw Christopher's pickup truck still parked, but Shannon's vehicle was nowhere to be located. Around midnight, Shannon's parents sought out help from Shannon's mobile phone provider, and that's where they discovered that her last ping was at a phone tower off of Cherry Street. At around 1 a.m., Shannon and Christopher's family and friends searched the Cherry Street area and found Shannon's abandoned Toyota 4Runner. The front seats were pushed back. None of Shannon's belongings were there, and the vehicle had been wiped down clean. That's not a good sign. Through further inspection, they find an envelope. It was then dusted for prints, and it yielded a hit. The prints had a match. Lamarcus Davidson, a known carjacker who'd recently gotten out of prison. Investigators learned that he was renting out a house on Chipman Street in the Cherry Street area. On January 9, investigators searched his house, and what they discovered would traumatize them for the rest of their lives. There, sitting in the middle of the room, was a large garbage bin. In it was something wrapped in 5 layers of garbage bags. When they opened the bag, they saw Shannon's body. These are graphic details, please be advised. Shannon had been repeatedly and violently assaulted and tortured. I can't tell you exactly what they did to her. It's too much. The perpetrators cleaned her mouth with bleach and her other area to wipe out any DNA. That very same day, a few miles from where Shannon's body was found, they found Chris's body. Chris was set on fire and he was said to be lying down on railroad tracks. The medical examiner confirmed that Christopher's face and head had been wrapped in a sweatshirt and a gray and white sock was in his mouth with a shoelace wrapped around the sock and the back of the neck. The autopsy later revealed that Christopher had been shot 3 times, once on the right side of the head, once on the right side of the neck, and once in the back. Chris had also been raped by at least one perpetrator. Nevertheless, DNA analysis revealed the presence of sperm and sperm fragments on both victims. The medical examiner further determined that Shannon Christian was alive when placed in the trash bin, but was tied in such a way that she could not breathe and could not get out of the trash can. The cause of death was positional asphyxiation. Authorities had 5 suspects in custody: George Giovanni Thomas, Latalvis Cobbins, Lamarcus Davidson, Eric Boyd, and Vanessa Coleman. Prosecutors also had a lot of DNA evidence against them. Authorities were also able to obtain a timeline of events from the perpetrators. On January 7, 2007, the assailants observed the couple going to their cars, and that was when the two were ambushed at gunpoint. The couple was pushed into the vehicle and taken to the Shipman Street house. Both Shannon and Christian were raped and tortured inside that house. Chris was then later taken to a nearby railroad track where he was forced to walk barefoot to the tracks and was shot until he fell to the ground. All of the perpetrators were found guilty of at least one of the following: kidnapping, rape, robbery, murder, and assault. Vanessa Coleman is held at the Tennessee Prison for Women. Cobbins and Thomas are held at the Bledsoe County Correctional Complex in Pikeville. Lamarcus Davidson was sentenced to death on October 30th, 2009, and is incarcerated at the Riverbend Maximum Security Institution. And Eric Boyd was sentenced to life in prison at the Bledsoe County Correctional Complex. Please be safe out there when walking to your cars. Be extra alert. Rest in peace, Shannon and Christopher.
Lindsay, I babysit kids.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. What's going on?
Okay, my name is Lindsay. I babysit kids.
Yes.
We just dropped her off, and all of a sudden she just passed out.
Who's passed out?
The little girl, she's 3. She felt pretty bad yesterday, and she's been fine. And then all of a sudden we dropped off this morning, and she walked in and she kind of passed out. She went limp.
Okay.
I don't know.
Are you with her now?
Yes, and so is her dad. I called her. Yes, hurry, she's bad. There's something wrong.
Okay. Is she awake right now?
Yeah.
No, stay on the line with me. I have to ask you a few questions while my partner gets the medics dispatched. Okay, is she breathing?
Yes, in and out.
Okay.
Yes, in and out. I don't know what's wrong.
Okay, is her breathing completely normal?
Oh, yes, almost gone. Hurry, please.
Okay, lay down on her back.
That's out.
Lay her down on her back and let her head tilt back.
Okay, I'm so sorry that happened.
Okay. Is she still unconscious, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, she's unconscious. Her eyes are open and she's like just gasping for air.
What's the matter?
Fucking shock or something.
I don't know what could be wrong with her.
I don't know. She was fine. Who just walked in the house?
She got up, brushed her teeth.
I don't understand.
Lindsay, it's okay. They're on the way.
They just walked in the house and just passed out.
Hey.
Parkinson.
Hey. Look at Daddy. Anna. Look up.
You're okay. I love you.
Anna.
I love you, Buttercup.
Hey.
So wake up. There we go.
The woman in this 911 call is 35-year-old Lindsay Parton of Butler County, Ohio. The distraught babysitter made the call after one of the children in her care, 3-year-old Hannah Weshy, abruptly passes out while at her home. But when confronted about exactly what happened to Hannah leading up to the tragedy, Lindsay would end up changing her story an unbelievable 7 times, leaving detectives to work out what or who Lindsay was trying to hide. On Thursday, March 8, 2018, Jason Weshy and his young daughter Hannah woke at dawn. As they did every morning, just like any other day, Jason got ready for work, then got Hannah ready to be dropped at her babysitter, Lindsay Parton's house. Despite being next-door neighbors, Jason's house is approximately 300 feet away from Lindsay's. Hence, he regularly drove to drop his daughter off every morning instead of walking. Jason would later recall that on this particular morning, instead of wanting to sit in his lap and drive like she usually did, Hannah crawled into the back seat and laid down, which was very unusual for the energetic toddler. About 5 minutes after texting Lindsay to let her know that they were on the way over, Jason's car pulled into her driveway. Lindsay went into her garage to meet the pair. Jason set Hannah down in front of Lindsay, then gave her a hug and a kiss before he turned to leave. Hannah called him back, asking for double kisses, and Jason gave his daughter more kisses and hugs before assuring her that he'd be back later, then rushed out to make the hour commute to work. He had no idea the horror that would occur just minutes after he turned his back. Lindsay escorted Hannah inside the house, where the little girl asked if she could sit on the couch and eat a donut before breakfast. Hannah then began to remove her jacket, and in the next moment, she fell limply to the floor. At least, that's what Lindsay Parton told detectives about what had happened when she spoke to them later that morning.
So, take us back to this morning when when Hannah gets here.
Okay, well, he walked in the door like normal.
Through the front door,
Back door, where you guys came in, and sat her down.
Was he carrying her?
He carries her in, has her blanket over her cold.
My heart is beating out of my chest. I just got a call from one. Ma'am, my heart is beating out of my chest. I just got a call from one of my son's friends.
Okay.
Her phone number, I have it right here. She just picked my husband up too. My son and his girlfriend live out at Long Acre Lane. I believe that's Holland. This girl says she was on the phone with my son and his girlfriend, and he was supposed to go pick her up. He was telling her he was going out the door, and all she heard was the phone drop, and heard my son saying in the background, "Who are you? What do you want? What are you doing here?" And she said she just drove by the house, and the house looks ransacked. All the lights are on. My son's not answering, and neither is the girlfriend.
Okay, you said it was.
Yes, Lane.
Okay.
Oh my God. I got heart problems, and my heart's beating out of my chest right now.
All right, I understand.
Oh my God.
Is she still there?
No, she just came by here to pick up my husband, my son's dad, and I'm here with the other two younger kids.
All right, what is your name?
My name is Maite Vasquez Clark. Oh my God. I have the girl's phone number that he was talking to, that heard all this going on in the background.
Okay.
Her parents, my son's girlfriend's parents are out of town. They left for Puerto Rico 2 days ago. I don't know how to calm myself down. My heart's beating out of my chest.
Okay, what did your son tell her?
My son was like, "Hey, Tiff, we're on our way out the door. We're coming to get you." And then all she hears is the phone drop, and my son Johnny saying, "Who are you? What do you want? What are you doing here? Who are you?" And no more answers. That's all she hears. And then she says that she starts getting worried because neither of them are answering the phone. And she goes out there by the house, and she sees all the lights are on, and the cabinets look ransacked.
Okay, but you don't have any idea where your son's at?
He was there at the house with his girlfriend. That's where they're house sitting for her parents.
Okay, but he wasn't there when she went over there?
No, she rang the doorbell and nobody came to the door, nothing. Oh my God, ma'am, I'm so afraid something happened bad. Oh my God.
Okay, what's your son's name?
John S. Clark. Clark is with the E at the end.
Is he white, black, or Hispanic?
He's white and Hispanic. He looks more white than anything.
How old is he?
He's 21. And the girlfriend is...
Okay, is somebody going to meet us over there?
Yeah, my husband's on his way there right now. Oh my God, my hands are ice cold. My heart's beating out of my chest.
Do I need to send you medical, ma'am?
Please do.
Okay, let me get this call in real quick, and I'll send you medical, okay?
But I have these kids. Okay, please make the call. The girlfriend's name is Lisa Stroud.
Okay, what's your husband's name?
John P. Clark.
What kind of car is he driving?
I don't know what the girl's car is that picked him up. I'll give you the girl's phone number. The girl, Tiffany.
Do you know how over there?
Probably 10 minutes. Oh, my heart. My God, I can't take this.
What's his girlfriend's name?
Lisa Straub. Straub.
What's her cell number?
This is from the cell number. The girl that called me is Tiffany. I don't know her last name, and her cell number is...
Okay, but we can get a hold of Lisa on that number?
No, Lisa's with Johnny. That's what I'm telling you. Lisa and Johnny are boyfriend and girlfriend. They were leaving her mom's house. They were on the phone with this girl named Tiffany. The number I'm going to give you, the cell phone number that I'm going to give you. They were talking to her on the phone when all this commotion went down.
I thought the girlfriend called you saying that she was on.
No, not the girlfriend. Her friend. The girlfriend's friend called me, and she's the one that just came here now to pick my husband. Oh my God, please! I'm praying that my son is okay. Oh Lord.
All right, stay on the line and talk to medical while they're on their way there, okay?
Okay.
Hang on.
On January 30th, 2011, in Tulsa,
Stephen had a wooden pole with a camera duct taped to one.
Johnny and Lisa were house sitting for Mary Beth and Jeff Straub, Lisa's parents, who were on a cruise celebrating their 25th anniversary. It was a run-of-the-mill Sunday besides that, as Johnny and Lisa made plans to see friends that day. At 10:41, Johnny called a friend, who remains anonymous, who later told the family and authorities that Johnny was waiting for a friend, Anthony Watson. During that call, Johnny received a call from another friend, Tiffany Williams, who was looking for a ride to come hang out. Johnny and Lisa were going to head out to pick up Tiffany and Zach Burkett, another friend, when things began to take a turn. Tiffany later told Detective Jeff Kozak about the call during her interrogation, and a strange interruption that left her feeling concerned for Johnny.
Bro, what are you doing?
Exclaimed Johnny, as Tiffany could hear another male voice in the background. One she did not recognize. Johnny sounded angry and told Tiffany he would call her back. But that call never came. Soon, concern mounted. After that phone call, there were 22 calls placed to Johnny's cell phone. All of them unanswered. Mady was mortified, and it was how she knew something was wrong. As concerned as his mother, Tiffany spoke with Zach Burkett, convincing him to drive her over to the Straub's home to check on them. After looking around, Tiffany claims she couldn't see anything that seemed off.
I pulled the door open and started knocking, and I looked in the side window and didn't see anything. Only thing I could see was that there was a door open at the top of the stairs.
Tiffany called another friend of Johnny, who then reached out to Mady Clark, who told Mady of the abruptly ended phone call between Tiffany and Johnny. Williams then drove to pick up Johnny's father, John, and took him to the Straub's home while Mady called 911.
Listen, ma'am, I am a concerned mother. My son was in Long Acre Lane with his girlfriend house sitting. Lisa Straub lives there because her parents went to Puerto Rico 2 days ago. I get a phone call about a half an hour ago from his friend Sharita that some girl named Tiffany called her saying that Johnny and Lisa were supposed to pick her up at 11 o'clock. And she was on the phone with Johnny, my son, when he was walking out of his house, his girlfriend's house with his girlfriend to come get her. And supposedly she heard a guy in the background screaming at my son and my son saying, "What do you want? Who are you? Get away from us," and what have you. Okay, 4 cop cars were already out at this residence. They're not there, and her car is in the driveway. I want to know where my son's at. Okay. I want to know where my son and his girlfriend are at. I want to know if they got abducted by whoever tried to assault them and rob them. And it's pretty funny that this girl named Tiffany, which is there right now by the residence, waits 2 hours to call somebody and report this.
Okay. Well, like I said, we were out there. There was nothing going on there.
Okay. Where is my son and his girlfriend, and her car's in the driveway?
How would I know that, ma'am?
I need to report my son missing.
Okay. Where are you at?
I'm coming up to the residence right now.
Well, which residence?
Lisa's house.
Okay. I need an address.
Long Acre Lane.
And what's your name?
My name is Maite Vasquez Clark. This is the street, I think, Mama. Long Acre. This is it. This is it.
Okay,
I'm with my cousin right now that's in the military. Okay. I want this girl's plate number before we go anywhere so I can give it to the sheriff on the phone. And they're back pulling in the driveway? I want this plate number. Ma'am, I'm going to give you this plate number, okay? Mm-hmm. That this girl's car is driving. I'm going to stay calm. I am. Will you stay on the phone with me, ma'am, while I talk to this girl? Don't touch anything.
Okay, who are you going to talk to?
Okay, listen, here's the plate number. That is the plate number of the car that this girl is driving that my son was supposedly pick up.
Okay, what kind of vehicle is it?
What kind of vehicle is that you're driving? A Corolla? I have a feeling you set up my son. My son is missing. He's nowhere to be found. Do you want to tell the police what you just got done telling me on the phone? Okay, come here, ma'am. I'm going to let you talk to her because I have her blocked in Lisa's house driveway. Okay?
Okay.
Here. You tell them what you I will. Hello?
Okay, what's going on?
Okay, my friend Johnny and Lisa, they were supposed to come pick me up, me and my friend from our house, and this was like 11 o'clock, and I was on the phone with his girlfriend Lisa, and then he hung up, and we all hung up. He said, on their way, and then I called Johnny right back because I was going to tell him that I was going to run to the store, and then I would meet them at the house. Well, he was yelling at somebody like, I'm on. He goes, bro, who are you? And then I called. He called him right back, and he didn't answer. So I texted my friend Lisa's phone, and I was like, where are you? Are you guys okay? And they have not answered to me or nothing. They have not answered the phone, and I've been calling. So I drove out to their house after my friend's mom got home, and nobody answered the door. So I drove back by our house to see if maybe they went to his mom's house, and he wasn't there. So his dad called my phone, and I was like, do you want to ride out there? And he said, yeah, and I brought him out here. And now his mom's arguing with me, saying I set him up. And, they're my friends, and I'm worried about them. And I don't have, I'm worried about my friends because they were supposed to come pick me up, and they never showed up.
Okay, does anyone have, what's the son's name? What's her son's name? Is Johnny, is that his name?
Yeah, Johnny Clark.
Does anyone have his phone number?
Yeah, I do, but his phone shut off.
Okay.
And we was calling, and it was ringing, and then it was shut off all of a sudden. And then I was calling my friend's phone, and I've been texting her, asking her if she's okay. Are they okay? Because they wasn't answering. And then I texted her, like, last I talked to you, I heard him arguing, and then now all of a sudden they haven't picked up the phone or nothing.
Okay. Are you out? Is there a couple officers? Where are you guys?
There's some officers out here.
Okay. Why don't you go talk to them and they can help you? Okay.
Okay. I'll put his mother back on the phone.
Okay. Actually, I don't need to talk to her. She just talk to the officers.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
When authorities got to the Straub house, there was nothing suspicious about the home to be seen. No tracks in the snow or signs of forced entry. Besides the TV being on, nothing appeared to be wrong from peeping through the windows. About an hour later, Matey called again at 2:27, her concern and anxiety mounting with every passing moment. Deputies came to the Straub house once more, searching around the house for roughly 20 minutes. With no probable cause to enter the home, the police left again. But before they did, one officer pulled John Clark aside.
As an officer, I can't tell you to go into that home, but as a parent, I would wait for us to leave, then go in.
John, Matey, and a family member drove to a nearby gas station and returned shortly after the authorities cleared the scene. John went behind the home, peeping through the back windows, while Matey waited in the car fervently. What John saw through the blinds shook him to his core. A phone on the floor, and next to it, his son Johnny. John Clark jumped into action immediately, running to the front of the home and kicking in the front door. When John entered the home, he saw Lisa and Johnny lying on the floor, with plastic bags over their heads and duct tape wrapped around their necks.
Oh my God. You need to get the police out to Long Acre Lane. My son is in the basement tied up at his house. I just on their way. Absolutely nothing. Through the window. The police were out here earlier and did absolutely nothing. Both cell phones are on the ground, and we can see the people. Him and his girlfriend are tied up in the basement.
Okay. All right. We'll get them out there.
Get them cops out here. I told them earlier. And they wouldn't listen to me.
You need to calm down. We'll get them out there. But yelling at me is
unconscious. They're unconscious, ma'am.
Oh, okay. You said they're unconscious?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Cell phones on their body. With cell phones on their bodies. Unclothed with pants on. She only has pants on. Okay. And their hands are tied.
Okay. All right. We'll get them out there, ma'am.
Oh my God.
Oh, I need you to calm down. We'll get him out there, okay?
Oh my God, please hurry.
All right, we will.
Long Acre Lane.
I have the address. We'll get him out there.
Goodbye.
John ripped the bags off, desperately trying to save the young couple. But as he went to perform CPR, he knew it was no use. His son Johnny and his girlfriend Lisa were gone. Whoever did this had been looking and searching for something, with the kitchen and bedrooms upstairs completely ransacked. Cabinets and drawers emptied, Lisa's purse, their closets. All of the contents spilled out onto the floor, helter-skelter. Even the attic had been searched. According to authorities, Lisa's bedroom door was damaged, leading police to believe she tried to protect herself, barricading her door shut as attackers entered the home. Since there were no tracks in the snow, investigators believe the intruders entered through the garage. And due to damage to the door leading from there to the kitchen, it's believed that Johnny tried to keep the intruders out. It's believed that multiple people broke into the home since they needed to bust through the door Johnny was holding shut. The bodies of Johnny and Lisa were found with duct tape around their wrists, their hands behind their back and feet taped together. Johnny's wallet had been emptied and left on his chest. An autopsy revealed that the couple died of asphyxiation and that the bags and tape killed them within minutes. The motive appeared to be robbery, but the method of killing perplexed investigators, as stabbings or shootings were more common during break-ins. Some unknown DNA samples were found on the bodies, specifically from the tape, Johnny's ankles, and the inside of his pocket. But the biggest piece of evidence was a but found near the door, tucked away in the corner of the room by the doorway leading to the garage. What seemed most peculiar to detectives was there was no smell, not a hint of smoke in the house or any traces of ash. But, after running it through the lab, the police had 2 positive IDs on suspects from the cigarette. Sam Williams and his friend, Cameo Petaway. Sam was a frequent smoker and had multiple priors, including assault, domestic violence, and threatening a witness. Williams had also been starting a prostitution ring, as well as dealing drugs. As for Cameo Petaway, the authorities did not have enough evidence to connect him to the crime. But for Sam Williams, it was a different story. A cellmate of Williams claimed that Sam confessed to him, including disclosing details about the investigation and evidence found. Multiple incriminating phone calls from prison to friends hurt Sam's case, including Williams saying, "I messed up. I'm going to be in here for a long time." Sam also denied ever entering the Straub house, despite the but tying him to the scene of the crime. Prosecutors had a strong case with all of the above, and Sam Williams ultimately was sentenced to 2 life sentences without parole. To this day, Williams still denies wrongdoing and asserts his innocence. The murders of Johnny Clark and Lisa Straub are a painful reminder that brutality and tragedy can strike even the quietest of communities. As for the aftermath, it can destroy the lives of friends and loved ones, leaving the survivors forced to pick up the pieces.
To be deceased, right? And you said when you found her, she was already believed to be deceased, right? Yeah. So you found the child an hour and a half ago? Yeah. And called your lawyer first, correct? Yeah. Okay.
What you just heard and are about to hear is some of the most extreme, bizarre, and baffling thinking ever caught on camera. A child's life taken in the most sickening way, and for one reason so unthinkable, you'll have a hard time believing it was actually said out loud.
I called my lawyer first thing to ask, what's the next thing I could do. And they said, wait till they're here to call, the police and get that going. Basically, it got to the point where I was waiting so long, I just kind of went ahead and did it anyway. We'll send someone out, we're going to investigate.
After placing the call to emergency services, Seth and his wife, Tatiana Fasari, were escorted to the police station in King County, Michigan, to answer some questions about what happened to their child. It's important to know that both were there voluntarily and not under arrest at the time of these interviews that have never been seen before. The interrogation room is stark, with bare walls, only outfitted with uncomfortable chairs and a table. There are no distractions. All of this is intended to make the person in the room uncomfortable and uneasy. That way, they're dependent on the interrogator to provide them comfort with things such as food and water, or even other favors such as cigarettes or compliments. This gives the interrogator leverage. Seth appears to be nervous as he sits and fidgets. Most people are nervous in an interrogation room, so none of this is really surprising. However, given the situation, his behavior is a bit odd.
Some water if you want.
It is notable that Seth barely looks up to make eye contact with the detective. This is unusual, as most people would at least glance up when someone enters a room or hands them something. This short interaction could be a sign of contempt towards the detective, or even an antisocial personality. The detectives decide to speak first with Tatiana about Mary's death, leaving Seth to wait in his own interrogation room.
Really, what I kind of just like to do is just to get a better understanding of how we are here today and kind of go back a few years even, just to get to know you and your family a little bit. So, do you go by Tatiana or do you have a nickname? Tatiana. Okay. How many children do you have?
Five.
Three. Okay. Yep. All right. And how old is your oldest?
4.
The officer shifts to talk about the other 2 children. This is a tough interview to do. They need to dance the line between talking about the kids and what happened, and also keep her from breaking down completely to the point where any conversation is impossible.
Does she have a primary doctor?
Not anymore. We only go if there's an issue, and there just hasn't been.
Oh, good.
Though Tatiana states that she and Seth would in fact take their children to the doctor if they're sick, as you'll see, there will be a discrepancy when Seth speaks to detectives. This is exactly why the couple is being interviewed separately, so that the detectives can expose areas where they may be lying or covering for the other person. She also discusses how her older daughter was recommended by a doctor to wear a head-shaping helmet. This is a rather common occurrence and is sometimes done if a baby's skull is an abnormal shape. However, Tatiana also begins to expose her skepticism with the medical profession.
I found out that it's commission-based for these products that they try and push. But we think that they're trying to push the helmet. It was a $3,000 helmet. It looks quite invasive, and I'm heavy. And I just want her to get neck problems or back problems. She didn't need it.
Right.
And called CPS and said that we were being aggressive or something out there.
Okay.
As Tatiana just stated, CPS, Child Protective Services, was called on the couple when they refused to get the head-shaping helmet for their eldest daughter. Soon after, the child was diagnosed with failure to thrive. This diagnosis is often when a baby isn't gaining weight as they should. It can be from an illness, poor eating habits, or even neglect by the parents. Given that one of their other children has died, this is extremely relevant. Tatiana further shows her mistrust with medical practices as she shares a story with detectives about how after the birth of one of her children, they were kept at the hospital for 3 days, something which Tatiana makes clear she thought was unnecessary and a way to force the couple to pay more in medical bills. To avoid this with Mary, she had a home birth.
And having a home birth right after I gave birth, Seth went out and bought me a pizza, and I ate that whole pizza.
Bonus.
Right on my couch. So.
And is she in any kind of daycare? Does she go?
No.
Does she have preschool?
No, I homeschool. I have my degree in early childhood education.
Okay.
So
Good for you.
This shows that she or Seth were home with the children all day, and this fact will become integral later on. He is glaring directly into the camera. Remember, Seth is here because his child has just passed away. You might expect him to look sad and grief-stricken, and yet Seth displays neither of these emotions and appears almost frustrated to be there. There's no doubt about it. He's upset that he's been left waiting. Seth appears to be both annoyed and bored. People with antisocial personality disorder, ASPD, are grandiose and entitled, so they don't believe that anyone has a right to question them, or worse, keep them waiting. One of the reasons Seth may seem so frustrated with being left alone so long is because he could be wondering what Tatiana is telling detectives about Mary's death. Continuing to gather background information,
And you said when you found her, she was already believed to be deceased, right? Yeah. So you found the child an hour and a half ago? Yeah. And called your boy?
detectives ask Tatiana about how she and Seth fed Mary, information that will soon be very important.
Did you bottle feed, breastfeed, pump, while you were at work? Did you leave work to breastfeed, or did you leave pumped bottles at home for Seth to feed?
I work pumped bottles at home.
Okay.
It depends on my shift, but usually I pump fresh every day, and I will leave one out on the counter, leave some in the fridge, and then there will be some in the freezer.
Finally, after being in the interrogation room alone for 2 hours, the detectives enter. This is a rather long time and may have been unintentional. However, they may have strategically decided to speak with Seth's wife first and intentionally made him wait. In comparison, Tatiana seems like the easier person to get information from, and her statements could potentially be useful in getting Seth to talk. The more the police have on a suspect going in, the more advantageous.
Man, sorry about that.
Immediately, Seth leans back in his chair with his fingers interlocked over his stomach, which is a protective and defensive posture. Once again, he barely acknowledges the detectives, indicating that he'll probably not be cooperative and could be defiant.
I'm sorry you're going through this. I told you that earlier, but how long have you, is it Tatiana, right? I can keep it. Tatiana. How long have you guys been married?
I don't know how long you've been married for, like 3 years. March 2015, I think.
Right off the bat, Seth is evasive and uses a qualifier, I think, on a very basic question. He would have no reason to lie, and so this might indicate that he's not making an attempt to be helpful. Almost as soon as the detective asks Seth for some background information about his children, just as they did with Tatiana, he shares his beliefs about the medical field.
I am very anti-medical industry is because of what happened with she coughed one time, and so they said that they had to keep her under observation for 72 hours to make sure she didn't have a breathing problem. The bill was about $15,000. So, they even got to the point where they, the first time we changed doctors, they called CPS on us just for changing doctors because the doctor we were seeing was all the way in Byron Center from Cedar Springs.
This is the first inconsistency between Tatiana and Seth. She stated CPS was called because they refused the head-shaping helmet, while he says it was because they changed doctors.
I'm done with medical stuff. We're home birthing. It's
the way to go anyways, isn't it?
Yeah.
After establishing that both Tatiana and Seth have a mistrust of the medical field, the detective asks him about feeding Mary, and his answer is the second discrepancy between him and his wife.
Did she leave you bottles of breast milk to nurse her, or did you not nurse?
Notice Seth's behavior as the detective asks this question. His hand goes from open on the table to using an adapter behavior to closed on his lap. Adapter behaviors often indicate that an individual is trying to alleviate stress. In addition, when someone's hands are open, this typically indicates that the person is feeling relaxed. However, as stress increases, one's fingers may curl up, as Seth's are doing now.
No, we just had, that's when I would give her solid food.
Okay. While you were at work, did you leave work to breastfeed, or did you leave pumped bottles at home for Seth to feed?
I work pumped bottles at home.
Okay. Feeding the children has never been a real part of your responsibility.
A little bit. I've been feeding like her dinner. I feed her tons of solid food. I feed her 3 or 4 of those, those Gerber cups. She just wolfs them right down, no problem.
When did you guys start with her on solid foods?
It's been a couple months now. Maybe since April, because that's when Tatiana started working at her job.
Despite seeming relaxed and at ease, Seth is shaking his legs and tapping his fingers, which is a sign that he's anxious and stressed. People are often unaware when they do this. It's another stress adapter to release nervous energy. His baseline throughout the first 2 hours when he was alone in the room showed that he bounces or shakes his legs, but his adapter behaviors are happening at a higher rate now that the questioning has started, which is a sign of his increased stress.
Yep.
And then she moved up to, now she's working
basically full time.
Seth tells the detectives that for the first 4 months of Mary's life, Tatiana breastfed her. Then, when she was 6 months old, Tatiana began working more and Seth became responsible for most of the feeding. Still, he says that Tatiana continued to breastfeed Mary in the morning and the middle of the night. And then, when Tatiana was away, he fed the baby 4 cups of solid food. This seems like an excessive amount of food for a 10-month-old. Making her eating habits sound extreme in the other direction is even more suspicious and could mean that he's lying. The question is, if he is lying, why lie about something like this? The detective has done a good job of getting him calmed down a bit. He's mirroring the body language of the detective, hands in front, leaning forward towards each other, which is a much more open stance than when they started speaking.
How did your kids develop? Every child's different, I know that, but...
They all were very engaging and active. And yeah, roly-poly's a great way to describe all of them, actually.
Okay.
The only thing they were late on was walking.
Was she always thinner?
She was always petite.
Always petite.
Yeah, she was never, nothing chunky about her.
So at 6 months, did your hours change? Is that why these habits changed, or did they change because or a combination of both?
It could have been a combination of both. I know because she was growing, she was eating more, and you're encouraging the solid food so she can gain more weight.
Tatiana glances in the direction of the camera when she says Mary was growing. It's clear she knows she's being recorded, and this quick movement could be an indication of dishonesty. People don't like to be recorded when lying.
And how do you feel about weight size? Was she okay, or was she...
I was a tad concerned, but then I remembered I'm a mom, she'll just worry about anything.
Sure.
Then,
care of some chores, and then I lay back down. And then my wife told me she was gonna go right up the street to the neighbor's house to go get some kids. And when she came back, I woke up, told me, and that's that.
It's strange that he seems to show no emotion except irritation, frustration, and maybe a bit of anger. But other than that, it's like he could be talking about losing a book in the same manner as he's talking about the death of his child.
So what did you do when she told you that?
I split out of bed and raced to the room and,
So you're helpless, right? Like, what you don't know what to do?
What am I gonna do?
Yeah.
I could tell she was dead from looking at her.
He is very cavalier about looking at his daughter dead and even shrugs. Losing a child is something most parents consider to be their worst nightmare and the worst pain a parent can experience. His demeanor is disturbing and extremely abnormal, especially given the fact that Mary's death was likely preventable.
But Tatiana couldn't.
She's a mom.
Right.
She's good. So, I'm used to dealing with a lot of dead bodies with this farm.
Yeah.
So I know what they look like. That was that.
Saying Tatiana didn't know the baby was dead because she is a mom implies that his role as a father makes him less emotional or attached to the children. He shows zero emotion, and his tone is one of almost indifference. It's important to remember that this happened just hours before this interrogation, and his emotions should still be very fresh. While some parents may not show emotion because of shock, he does not appear to be in shock.
So yesterday morning, when you got her up at 7, She had spit up?
No, this morning.
Oh, this morning.
At 9 when I got her up, when I tried to get her up.
Yeah.
I thought maybe she choked on her spit, and that's why.
What color was her spit up?
It was foamy and brown.
It's odd that Seth never mentioned anything about Tatiana thinking Mary had choked on her spit up. Parts of their stories aren't aligning, which could mean one or both are intentionally leaving information out.
So where was the spit up at?
The side of her mouth, the side of her face.
And then that's when you noticed that she was unresponsive. Was this morning when you saw that? And what happened next?
Excuse me. Her eyes are open.
Did anything else look strange other than obviously the spit up and that her eyes were open? Or other than that, did she look as usual?
She's just cold. Okay. So I went in to get Seth. It was an emergency, and he's like, and I was just so shocked, and he reminded me I knew CPR.
Tatiana may have added that Seth told her to start CPR to try and protect him and make him appear less detached. One of the things to note is that this may be an indication of abuse, as victims of domestic abuse often protect their abusers.
He told me to start, so I took her from the bed and I put her on her changing table, and I started CPR, and I just...
I know this is tough.
So I did a 2-finger touch on her chest and her back, and I wiped her mouth, and I did, when I was pumping her chest, there was like bubbles, bubbles coming out of her mouth. So that's why I thought maybe that's why I thought she choked. And then maybe if I kept pumping, maybe it would come out, and then she'd cough and wake up. Like the bubbles, and I was giving her air and giving her, pumping with my feet, which is my 2 fingers. Maybe I should have done more.
Nope, you're doing it right.
And she was still so cold. And
Tatiana is now turned fully away from the detectives, facing sideways. Her response is actually a lot less suspect than Seth's.
it's not with me the whole time. And he just asked me, is she dead? Is she gone? While he's crying, he just asking me, is she gone? And I just so hard to say yes. And I just said yes. I had no idea what to do then at all. Like, what do we do?
So what did you do next?
Call my dad. So I just called him and, said, hey, should I call the police or what? I don't know how this works.
Your mom and I are on our way. Call the police. Let them know what happened, and we'll try and get there before they do.
It had been about an hour and some change, and I was starting to get impatient because I did not want to. I know how it looks when people wait to make a police call, so I just.
They may not have called 911 because Seth knew that if they called the police, it would be evident that they had neglected this child and would be arrested. He likely put his concerns for himself over his own child and called his dad to ask him what to do in reference to himself and his possible legal situation.
So what did you guys do during the 2 hours?
We sat there and cried.
Yeah.
And then we just spent the entire time on the couch waiting and crying.
Did you clean anything up? Yeah, we cleaned up the house a little bit. It doesn't match. I knew we were going to have my parents over. So.
Cleaning during such a horrific moment is definitely odd. It's possible that Seth and Tatiana cleaned the house because they knew police would be arriving. If the home was in a very unclean state, this could be cause for suspicion about the possibility of Mary and the other children being neglected. It's important to note that the crime scene photos show that despite claiming to have cleaned, the house was still quite dirty.
So what was that house cleaning entail?
Wiping out the counter and sweeping the floor.
Okay.
I don't know why. Who cares? Why would we?
An indication that Seth may be the dominant, possibly abusive one in their relationship is that the longer Tatiana is away from him, the more rational her thoughts appear to be, such as the outlandishness of cleaning in that moment.
Yeah, because obviously you're an intelligent man. So, obviously for us, And you just said yourself, it looks weird.
Before confronting Seth, the detective calls him intelligent to appeal to his ego, but also so he doesn't try to play dumb. Detectives will often say this to suspects they perceive as narcissists.
I wanted to just like call you guys first, but it's not. I was following my legal advice. So
Yeah.
I'm sorry if that there's a problem at all. I just doing what lawyers want me to do.
No, hey, well, here's the thing. I'm not saying, I'm just telling you, I'm just confirming what you said. It looks weird.
Tatiana, we're all parents in this room, okay? And we all need to be honest. Remember in the car when I first talked with you, and I told you that at the end of the day, we all need to know exactly. So we need to tell her story, okay?
The detective is letting her know he's not buying her story. He's hoping this will make her lose resolve and begin to tell the truth.
I want you to think about this for a minute. For a second and put yourself in our shoes. And then you have to go into that for a second and put yourself in our shoes. And then you have to go into that house and you have to look at that precious little angel. Okay? Do you think she was healthy, honestly?
When you look at her size, and you can see every single bone in her body, do you think she was healthy?
Tatiana hangs her head, possibly an indication of shame. This body position also allows her to take a break from the intense eye contact from the detectives.
We know this isn't easy, Tatiana, but we need to know what happened to her. What was going on?
So when did she start losing all that weight? But she's lost so much weight that you can't lose that much in 2 days.
Tatiana may be getting closer to telling them the truth. The detectives will likely apply more pressure to keep her feeling insecure.
I've never seen a child that skinny. Never. And here's the thing. You're obviously a very concerned mom, but at what point did you know, what point did you think something was wrong? Because I know that you knew something or you thought something wrong. You are an intelligent, educated woman.
The detective is leaning in towards her, speaking much more sternly and directly. In response, Tatiana appears closer to breaking down.
She can't even weigh 8 pounds right now. She doesn't weigh 8 pounds. When's the last time that you actually inspected her, that you looked at her? Tell me the truth.
Every time when I changed her, and I think I just may have been just so blinded.
What were you blinded by? Because I know, listen, you are an intelligent, articulate, college-educated, early childhood development. You know when you look at someone that something's wrong. I have a picture of her right here. I'm prepared to show you. That tells you no medical treatment. As dumb as I am, I'm not near as intelligent as you. I can't speak the words you can speak. I am not you. And even I can look at this photo and I can say, whoa, something's wrong. It put tears in our eyes when we walked in there. It was that obvious.
Tatiana, I'm going to be quite honest with you right now, okay? One parent to another, okay? And I'm going to try and control my emotions, all right? I've been to a child death investigator school, and I've seen photos and images of children that have been malnourished. And I'm telling you right now, this is the worst thing I've ever seen.
Oh, no, really?
Yes.
Oh.
Covering her face is a clear indication of shame and embarrassment. In contrast to Seth, Tatiana displays what appears to be real emotions and seems to feel some sort of responsibility or remorse. However, it's important to keep in mind that just because a suspect shows big emotions, it doesn't necessarily mean they feel bad about what they did. Those tears could be for themselves. Right now, she may be feeling panicked and worried about how much trouble she is facing, given what the detective just told her. She's still far from appearing like a parent who has nothing to hide.
You clearly need help too, though.
Okay, you know what? This is baggage. This is something that. But all I want to know is what stopped you from seeking help.
Tatiana is clearly having an emotional reaction during this point in the interrogation, but as you'll see, Seth's reaction is much more chilling.
She'll wait. Okay. I'm sure 6 months. Then she's tiny. Was that never an alarm for you? She's not where she needs to be. I can see all of her bones.
Mm-hmm. Well, what I just told you in regards to that matter. So yes, there was, which is what I told you. I also generally, I don't trust the medical system so much as other people. I know how they work, and I know they're in business, and that healthy people don't make them any money.
The detective's body language indicates that he was expecting this excuse.
So that can excuse your...
Yeah, it's the way it does. It changes the way that we do things a lot differently than most other people.
His answers are all about what he thinks. As earlier, he appears to believe that no one is smarter than he is.
But looking at your daughter, looking back, you as a parent, as a father, didn't you have any concern for her looking at her? Yes, I did. I was kind of more in that I have never encountered a health problem where basically if you don't do the right things and be patient, that it works itself out, especially with the kids. I was not happy about how thin she was, but I also, have the belief that, God didn't make us all, the same. Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
A parent being defensive in this situation is a huge red flag, as most parents blame themselves when their child is harmed, even in situations where they couldn't be at fault, let alone ones they could be to blame for.
I'm telling you right now, I've been doing this job for a long time, okay? And he'll tell you when I walked in that bedroom today, all right, I started crying. And I looked at her for a millisecond, and I knew that she wasn't right. And I knew that she wasn't right for some time, okay? And you're her father. Yes. I don't think I saw her when she was dead too. She was much more gaunt when she was dead than she ever was when she was alive. I mean, I got pictures on my phone.
Seth is in serious denial, or he's justifying his behavior and refusing to take any responsibility for his actions, which are common behaviors for someone with a personality disorder. It's likely not possible that the baby's physical appearance will change so drastically just hours after her death, when law enforcement arrived.
How did you not, when you looked at her a day and a half ago changing her diaper, and realize that my daughter is skin and bones? When I looked at her belly in the house, okay?
Quick warning, the detective is about to give a graphic description of Mary's body.
And I'm not exaggerating this. I know. I could see the outline of her intestines through her stomach. I could see her spine completely through her back. I could see every one of her ribs through her chest.
Though Seth is suddenly very still, he appears completely unfazed. This may be the freeze response, which is an instinctual response that can occur when someone encounters a serious threat. By not moving, the individual may be trying to not attract attention to themselves.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not happy about it either. You're welcome to go through my garbage and look at the baby food containers. And
the point isn't whether or not Mary was fed. It's the fact that she was not taken to a physician.
You knew something was wrong. What stopped you? Tell us the truth.
I mean, are you guys that financially strapped? I mean, what is it? Do you not believe in healthcare? Do you have religious beliefs? I mean, what is it?
Both detectives are hunched forward, making themselves smaller and less intimidating.
When did you start praying about him?
Consistently and heavily the past 4 days.
So 4 days ago, you started praying. What were your prayers?
She's eating lines and it's sticking.
You guys knew enough was wrong to start heavily and consistently praying. Why didn't you seek help? No.
Say anything to Seth.
Seth had to know. He was never holding.
Yes. Didn't think we needed to bring her to a doctor.
There's a dynamic here that we're trying to figure out. There is a dynamic here. I'm gonna tell you, I know it. I know there's a dynamic, and I feel that you wanted to get her help. I'm trying to just figure out why you didn't.
I think I was worried about another GPS call from the doctors, and I thought that Mary would get better and it would be okay.
So I want to know, out of you two, which one of you wanted to go to take her to the doctor?
I know he didn't, and I didn't for a long time, and until recently it just became a little thought in my head that maybe we should, and then I was worried about CPS and about just losing faith.
At this point, it's become clear that Seth and Tatiana are hiding behind their beliefs. But there are other factors present that cause them to make the decision to not seek medical attention for their daughter, such as Seth's dislike for authority.
She didn't get this malnourished and skinny overnight, okay? This is a lengthy process, okay? And this has been going on for some time. If you could go back and reset the clock to try to prevent today, how far back do you think you would go?
Seth hesitates again and struggles to respond, which is highly unusual and suspicious because any grieving parent would have an immediate answer to such a question. His hesitation could be because he knows that no matter what he says, it's going to incriminate him. Seth is essentially trapped with this question.
I don't know because I can't tell you.
Seth clearly doesn't want to give a specific date because he knows very well that any answer he gives here will make it clear that Mary was severely neglected and that her condition was a progressive process. It's also interesting that he doesn't mention that his wife was concerned, showing that he likely didn't take her into consideration.
I didn't think at all that she was going to die.
How could you not think that?
Delusional. I don't have a reason why I can think that I was being such a hopeful mom. I suppose I don't have a good reason for you. Sorry.
What was your conversations like with Seth?
You said a minute ago that you knew that he didn't want to go to a doctor.
Yeah, because we discussed it before. That we just
discussed her conditions?
Yes.
The detectives clearly think Seth was the one that was making the decisions and are trying to press her to see if she will admit to him preventing her from getting help.
When was the first time you guys discussed that?
Maybe a month ago. And, we talked about it and just have faith and just we'll keep feeding her like we do and keep nourishing her and keep her active and she'll get there. It's okay, she'll get there.
How many conversations did you have with Seth about this?
Not very many.
He's not an angry type person?
No.
How is he as far as emotional goes?
He's not afraid to cry.
Does he cry a lot? Would you say that he wears his emotions on his sleeve?
I suppose. I mean, when we were going through our marriage, he was very expressive about about his feelings and how he would like to be treated and how I wasn't treating him well. And so he's very intuitive and he was expressive, which is rare, I suppose.
The way Tatiana describes Seth is not at all what he presents like during the interrogation. If Tatiana is being abused and controlled by him, she could be afraid to admit what he is really like.
At what point today did you and or Tatiana think it doesn't look good that we didn't get her the medical treatment or whatever? At what point today did you think that?
I don't know. I guess I haven't really worried about it too much.
Okay.
Seth states this in such an unemotional and heartless manner that it's clear he has no remorse whatsoever and is possibly a sociopath. As well, this is also a direct contradiction to what he said at the beginning of the interrogation. Earlier, he explained that he called his dad for legal advice before calling police, which clearly indicated that he was worried about how it looked. When suspects give statements that are inconsistent, it can be a red flag for possible deception. Liars may have difficulty keeping track of what they've said, which can result in them saying something that contradicts an earlier statement.
The thing is that it's like, yeah, she was skinny, but that would be like the only thing. She was thin.
No, wasn't thin.
Yes, sir. I know. I picked her up. I know how skinny she was. It used to hurt. What am I going to do? Like inject her with liposuction? And what are the doctors going to do? There's more. You know what the leading causes of death in this country is, don't you? Yeah, it's medical malpractice.
It is. I'll give you that.
It's more dangerous. It's more dangerous to take your kid to the doctor than
That's not what most people think. Most people think but I get what you're saying.
Seth's delusional thinking is becoming increasingly evident. This could be because his level of stress is increasing. Seth is so out of touch with reality and so grandiose that he still doesn't acknowledge that doctors could have acted to save Mary.
Did you ever look at how tiny and sunken and skeletal she looked and say, we're in trouble?
Yeah, I think actually it came across my mind today.
Why did it come across your mind? What were you thinking? Is that why it took so long to call 911? I've never worked a case that's taken that long to call 911.
This is an indication that much of what Tatiana has said throughout the interrogation is her desperate attempt to appear like this was all an accident.
You never once expressed to Seth that, hey, this isn't good. Look at her. Look at her.
No, I didn't.
Did he ever even make a comment about her body? You guys looked at her and he never said anything about it?
No.
You know how he described her to us on the phone? You can listen to the 911. He described her as, nope, she's dead as a doornail.
Do you believe she was beyond help already? Oh, yeah, she was dead as a doornail.
Seth saying this shows that he not only doesn't feel normal emotions, but he may not even be capable of understanding how to act like a person with a conscience. It's also a sign of how detached he may have been as a parent. Individuals with antisocial personality disorder often are unable to form genuine attachments to other people. It's becoming clear that Seth is a sociopath and possibly intentionally starved his child for some benefit for himself or because she was somehow a burden to him. Tatiana's defense of him could be a sign of battered women syndrome, or a sign that she was so emotionally abused and controlled that she doesn't know anything else but to defend him. However, despite what her relationship with Seth may have been like, child, and she failed to do so. Still had a responsibility to take care of her child, and she failed to do so.
He can't find out. He's very, very upset. Just distraught. And I cried, and yeah, he cries, but he tries to be strong for everyone.
Let me ask you an honest answer. Do you feel responsible in any way for what happened today? I realize it's a bit of a trap question, but no. Or do you just say honest, or do you think it's just God's will? Well, just because it might be God's will doesn't mean that there's not that it's not His will according to our actions, or it doesn't mean that we're not responsible in some way for what has come about. And so I take responsibility on myself for anything that goes wrong in my life at all. Even if it's totally not my fault, it's still, what could I have done? You know, for me, do I take some responsibility? Yeah. I'll never forget it.
Referring to this as a trap question further confirms Seth's inability to care about anything but his own preservation. Seth seems to express some semi-remorseful sentiments here, but he's also giving himself a way out. His play with words is his absurd and grandiose way of trying to sound noble, as if he's willing to accept blame or fault no matter what. The truth is really the opposite, because Seth has not genuinely taken responsibility for his daughter's death thus far.
There's also a hole in the door that I put there because I'm not very savvy with tools, and I hit the door with a hammer. So there's a big hammer hole there. So I use it as the peephole.
Good idea.
Tatiana alleges she made the hole in the door to the baby's room so she can check on her. This is extremely unusual. Most people just go in the room or use a baby monitor. As you'll see, Seth tells detectives a conflicting story about the hole in the door.
Seth, how did that hole get in the door again? About 5 years ago, when I styled myself a patriot and a gun nut and all that good stuff, all that cool right-wing stuff, I was working on my AK and the gas tube. I was a total idiot, and like the gas tube was stuck, and I was trying to bang it in there, and I went, and the hammer flew out the back of my hand right into the door. Hey, the AK don't work, get a hammer.
The contradictory stories here about something that's not particularly important in comparison to the death of a child is actually quite troubling. Obviously, one or both of them is being dishonest, but it's not clear why. The question is the hole in the door a sign of abuse? Had Seth made it in a moment of anger? There are also holes in the walls around the house that are either at a convenient punching height or a height that would match with someone being pushed into the wall.
Well, why is Tatiana saying she put the hole in the door? That's what I'm confused about. Because she went through a lot when she was a kid. Her memory can sometimes be a little about details and stuff like that. So I don't know why she'd say that.
Seth claims his wife's memory is off because of childhood trauma and that she's not good with details. He may be alleging this about her so that he already has an explanation in place if their stories don't line up. He's made her the unreliable one. Tatiana could also be taking responsibility because what Seth explained was pretty dangerous and could have put the kids at risk, so she's trying to protect him and their family by saying it was her being clumsy. The hole in the door wasn't the only sign that something was wrong in the home. The mattress in Mary's crib was found torn and completely soaked through with urine, so much so that it pooled in a tub under the crib. You'll recall that both Tatiana and Seth said that they would leave Mary in the crib for long periods of time, where she would be lying on the urine-soaked bed.
For 1 second, I don't want you to think that anybody is trying to say that you didn't love your child.
No.
Okay? But I am going to be blatantly honest with you. You didn't provide the necessary care for your daughter. You didn't. Was it embarrassment? Was it fear? Was it... what was it?
I think it was fear of CPS. I think that I just thought that I was overreacting, and it was just all in my head because I tend to overthink things when it's not necessary, and I just thought there was another one of those. And our other two children are just so healthy, or am I delusional about that too?
Her comments here, I thought I was overreacting and it was all in my head. I tend to overthink and, or am I delusional about that too, are all giant red flags. These are the words of someone who's been gaslit for a long time. She doesn't trust her own instincts or thoughts anymore. These phrases are likely something she's been accused of before, maybe by Seth.
I don't know. I don't
as
know.
far as they appear, I mean,
Well, but here's the difference, though. You just said it right there. You just said it. As far as they appear. But we know it hasn't appeared healthy. So it's not a delusion.
All right, give me 5 minutes, and we're going to get you and Tatiana right home, okay? Great, thanks.
At this moment, Seth might be thinking that the whole ordeal was over, since the officer told him that he and Tatiana would be going home. However, this couldn't be further from the truth. In reality, the case against them was just beginning, and Seth would soon share his most shocking and bizarre thoughts yet. Seth lets out a big sigh after the detective leaves the room and begins nervously pacing around. Pacing could be an indication of the real level of anxiety he's actually feeling, rather than the cool-headed persona he's been trying to portray. The detective allows Seth to come in and sit with Tatiana while they wait to be transported home. It's highly unusual to have potential co-defendants wait together in a recorded interrogation room. It's likely the detectives want to observe them together.
So I'll, you just couple minutes, okay?
Yeah.
Hi, baby.
Hi.
How you doing?
How are you?
Happy that I'm with you now.
Me too.
Seth reaches for her hand. This can be seen as either someone reaching out for emotional support, but given his demeanor and suspicions about the relationship dynamic, it's more likely this is him engaging in manipulative actions that seem caring, but are intended to keep Tatiana connected to him. They are also likely aware that they are still being recorded or observed. The affection may just be them putting on a show for detectives.
I just kept reading that I wouldn't even let me answer.
So you told me what?
To call the police after.
Oh. I told you like 6 times. I was waiting for the lawyer to be there because we knew this would happen. Their job is to fill cells. It's their job. So they can fill 2 cells right now. And that's...
To me, they were angry. Like, it sounded like they were trying, I don't know if it's a movie mind, but like separate us.
Of course, that's what they're doing. That's why they came at you first. Because they know nothing. They can tell by looking at me.
Yeah.
They can do shit. So if I can do breakdown and accuse you, me is who they're looking for.
Still had a responsibility to take care of her child, and she failed to do so. A victim and is unable to acknowledge his fault in what happened. This is typical of people with ASPD. They manage to twist the story to make themselves sound like the ones suffering.
No, it's bad. You go home and we get really bad to me. I really like to not talk about it at all anymore today.
Seth's suggestion to go home and not discuss this sounds like he wants to forget his child just died hours ago and move on. He says it like he wants to de-stress after a long day. This comment matches right up with his overall attitude of indifference throughout his interrogation. He notably doesn't consider Tatiana's feelings and that she may want or need to talk about this tragedy. Watch the height differential maintained between them. Tatiana drops her head so that she's looking up at him as he sits straight up. Think about this like wolves in a pack dropping their heads in deference to the alpha. It's a visual representation of a power differential.
Oh, sorry. Well, that is enough. I stopped. I was counting down. You know, I was thinking, I'll wait till 7:30, but we're not under arrest. I'm being charged. I'm here under my own compulsion. You know, I'm free to go. So.
They clearly are in denial about the gravity of the charges they're facing and seem to think they'll not be jailed for their crimes and will continue raising their other children.
They're doing this as a show. And not even for them, but for probably when we have to go up in front of a judge. Here's all I want. They want to charge. They want somebody. There's got to be money involved. There's got to be a financial transaction somehow.
That was the worst case they've ever seen. They were making me feel. And they were like, we know it's not your fault. We know you're a good person. But this is the worst case we've ever seen. But
Tatiana seems unfazed by Seth's delusional comments and is likely used to this type of rhetoric from him. Seth's attitude and remarks are a good example of how abusers keep victims of narcissistic abuse in their place of submission, believing they need their spouse.
I don't know what to say, like it was a jug full of growth hormones and steroids. I'm sorry, you think I'm happy about it?
He makes the confident mini steeple with his hands while minimizing the importance of the death of his child.
You gotta understand the cops, they're not really they're just trying to get somebody to confess to a crime. That's all they're trying to do. So you just don't take it personally. You just, whatever. I don't care what you do. They're looking for somebody to say something crazy. They're looking for the crazy. That's what they're looking for. Yeah. They're looking for their way in.
The longer Seth is in there with her, the more Tatiana's demeanor changes. She's much less sympathetic than she was when she was speaking to the officers. It's not unusual for suspects to be different around law enforcement, but she came across as much more naive than she really is.
She looked like she was dead, too. She was so gone. No, I'm not trying to I'm just saying that's why it's such a bad picture of her, dude. She looked so bad. They didn't look real. And then she was dead overnight, and then she was sitting there all day dead, and then they're gonna take that? Of course.
Their topics of conversation in this interrogation room don't sound like those of grieving parents. It seems they're more focused on talking about the interrogation questions and how horribly they were treated than what happened to their daughter today. People cope with grief in different ways. Still had a responsibility to take care of her child, and